What happens when a franchise built on patience suddenly runs out of time? That's the question burning through Montreal's front office right now. And frankly, it should terrify every Canadiens fan who's bought into the rebuild narrative. Because here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say out loud. Kent Hughes is about to make a decision that will either validate 3 years of strategic planning or expose it as complete fantasy. The Montreal Canadiens, a team that's been preaching development, draft picks, and long-term vision like it's gospel, are now desperately circling Ryan O'Reilly, a 34-year-old center playing for the NHL's worst team. And the asking price? A first-round pick plus an A-level prospect. This isn't window shopping. This is mortgage the future territory. Let's cut through the corporate spin and address what's really happening in Montreal. This isn't about upgrading anymore. This is full-blown crisis management. Alex Newhook, long-term injured reserve. Kirby Dach, the player they surrendered the 13th overall pick to acquire. Sidelined indefinitely with a knee injury that's starting to look alarmingly familiar to his previous setbacks. Patrick Lane, the sniper brought in to finally give this offense some legitimate firepower, watching games in street clothes while rehabbing. Suddenly, Montreal's center depth doesn't just look thin, it looks catastrophic. They've been reduced to signing Alexander Texier, a player the St. Louis Blues literally paid to go away via buyout just to have warm bodies capable of taking faceoffs. When you're picking through another team's garbage just to fill roster spots, you're not operating from strength. You're drowning. And here's the truly maddening part. This was supposed to be the season where everything started clicking. Nick Suzuki establishing himself as a legitimate number one center. Cole Caulfield healthy and scoring. Uri Slavkovsky taking that sophomore leap. Lane Hudson revolutionizing the power play from the blue line. Instead, the injury bug has exposed every structural weakness in this roster, and the most glaring one is staring Hughes directly in the face. They have exactly one reliable center, and he's already carrying a workload that would break most players. Enter Ryan O'Reilly, and suddenly this gets complicated in the most fascinating way possible. On paper, this makes too much sense. A 2019 Stanley Cup champion who didn't just participate, he dominated, capturing the Conn Smythe Trophy as playoff MVP. A player whose defensive responsibility and hockey IQ are so refined they've become textbook examples of two-way excellence. And perhaps most importantly in today's salary cap hellscape, a contract paying just $4.5 million annually with only a year and a half remaining. In an NHL where mediocre third-liners command $3 million and genuine top-six centers routinely exceed $7 million, O'Reilly's deal is borderline theft. It's the kind of contract that doesn't handcuff your cap structure while still delivering legitimate production. And this is a massive, but we need to talk about those production numbers because they're not pretty. 6 goals and 13 points through 22 games for a 34-year-old player. Those aren't impact acquisition numbers. Those are maybe he's cooked numbers. And before you dismiss concerns about age and decline, remember, Father Time is undefeated in professional sports. The drop-off, when it comes, arrives suddenly and without mercy. However, context matters enormously here, and the context is this. O'Reilly is playing for a Nashville Predators team that's imploding in spectacular fashion. They're 6-12-2, sitting dead last in the NHL standings despite an off-season spending spree that was supposed to make them contenders. They just absorbed an 8-3 beatdown from Florida that looked like a junior team playing against professionals. Playing meaningful minutes on a dysfunctional, losing team will crater anyone's statistics. O'Reilly's underlying metrics, his defensive zone exits, face-off proficiency consistently above 55%, and ability to suppress high-danger chances remain elite. These are skills that don't deteriorate with age the way pure speed or physical dominance might. Barry Trotz isn't playing games anymore. The Predators' general manager has moved past diplomatic deflection straight into brutal honesty territory, and what he's saying should have every contending team's phone ringing off the hook. You hear this from a lot of teams. We're looking for a top-6 forward, Trotz stated matter-of-factly in a recent interview. I have a couple of top-6s. I've talked to their agents. I just want to get a feel for things. If we get this turned around, it'll be fine. If we don't, then maybe they want to say, hey, I'm getting a little older. I want another crack at it. Can we do something? Translation, everything is available. Steven Stamkos, despite his full no-trade clause and legendary status, available. Jonathan Marchessault, the Vegas hero they just signed, available. And Ryan O'Reilly, the most coveted piece on the roster, absolutely, unquestionably available. This creates a seller's market for Nashville despite their abysmal record. Multiple teams are circling Carolina, Dallas, potentially Colorado, which means Trotz can maintain his asking price. He doesn't need to discount O'Reilly just because the Predators are terrible. In fact, their terribleness might increase O'Reilly's value by making him more eager to move to a competitive situation. And that's where Montreal's calculation gets truly fascinating. So here's what Kent Hughes needs to answer, and he better get it right. Is this team actually closer to contention than anyone realizes, or is this just panic masquerading as strategy? The case for making the trade. The injury crisis is real and immediate. Montreal needs center depth now, not next season. O'Reilly provides that instantly while mentoring younger players like Dach and Newhook when they return. His championship pedigree could accelerate development by showing Montreal's young core what professional excellence looks like daily. The contract is manageable and expires before Montreal needs to extend their young stars to significant deals. If the Canadiens make an unexpected playoff push, and with Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky, and Hudson, it's not impossible. O'Reilly becomes invaluable in high-pressure situations. Look at the roster when healthy. Suzuki is a legitimate number one center. Caulfield is an elite goal scorer. Slavkovsky is showing flashes of becoming a dominant power forward. Hudson looks like a future Norris Trophy candidate. The goaltending tandem of Sam Montembeault and Caden Primo has been surprisingly competent. Add a healthy Lane to that mix, insert O'Reilly as your second-line center, and suddenly you're not looking at a bottom feeder. You're looking at a potential playoff team. The case against. Surrendering a first-round pick and an A-level prospect represents significant future assets for a team still building. Montreal's prospect pool, while improved, isn't deep enough to casually give away premium pieces. O'Reilly is 34 years old. The decline phase could arrive suddenly, potentially mid-season. His current production is concerning regardless of context. Montreal might be better served maintaining their draft capital and prospect depth rather than chasing short-term solutions. They could easily miss the playoffs even with O'Reilly, making this a wasted investment. And here's the kicker. Other teams with better championship odds might offer Nashville superior packages, pricing Montreal out entirely. This decision ultimately hinges on how Hughes views this team's trajectory. Are the Canadiens ahead of schedule in their rebuild, capable of competing sooner than anticipated? Or are they still a year or two away from genuine contention, making patience the wiser strategy? Here's my read. Montreal isn't operating in a vacuum. Multiple contending teams are interested in O'Reilly, which means this could quickly become a bidding war. Franchises like Carolina, Dallas, or even a desperate Edmonton might be willing to exceed Nashville's asking price. If you're Kent Hughes, do you really want to get into an auction against teams with genuine Stanley Cup aspirations? Those franchises can justify overpaying because they're one piece away. Montreal doesn't have that same urgency. Ryan O'Reilly to Montreal makes sense on multiple levels: veteran leadership, affordable contract, championship experience, positional need. But it also represents a philosophical shift for a franchise that's preached patience since Hughes took over. The injury crisis has forced Montreal's hand, accelerating their timeline whether they wanted it accelerated or not. If Hughes believes this core is closer to contention than the standings suggest, then the price might be justified. But if this is merely a panic move, Montreal risks mortgaging future assets for minimal present-day gain. The difference between strategic brilliance and desperate mistake will define Kent Hughes' tenure as Canadiens' general manager. One thing is certain: the hockey world will be watching closely. Should Montreal go all in on O'Reilly, or is this trade too risky for a rebuilding franchise? I want to hear your take. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's debate this. And if you appreciate analysis that doesn't just regurgitate press releases, but actually challenges the narrative, hit that like button and let me know you want more content like this.